All right, here we go. All right, Best Conversations podcast. Happy New Year to everybody. 2021, we here, we back. I hope everybody's doing well. We back. We bringing off the new year with a great episode, another great conversation. My today's guest, you probably first seen him on season 4 of College Hill when the kids from the United States meets the Virgin Islands kids. Since then, Willie has gone on to do roles with CSI, movies. Now you can catch him in your local club doing stand-up. First time to the program. Welcome to Best Conversations podcast, Willie Macc. How you doing, my brother?
What's up with you, boss? Sitting here. It's another day. We made it, man. It's crazy because you hear and see stories of all the time of someone like, hey, just lost someone or they struggling now. It's like, but we here, so. Whew.
We here, man. First off, happy New Year. We, like you said, we made the 2021. How was your 2020 as a stand-up comedian and also an actor as well? You know, you work for hire pretty much.
Yeah, I work for hire. It's interesting because it's been an up and down up year. So starting the year off, it was cool because I did 3 Super Bowl commercials in 2020.
Congrats.
And, hey, appreciate it. And then it's like I booked a couple other things, and like the year was starting off strong. Then like March, everything shut down. Like, and we all thought this was only gonna be maybe like a 2-3 month thing, and they gonna nip this in the bud. And things was open, but it was like just wear a mask. Then it cut completely off, which is crazy because this year was supposed to, like, I started going on the road last year, and this year I had stuff booked. I was gonna be all over, and now all of that got shut down, which forced me to stay in the house. And I actually started writing, and so I started like doing some script writing because I wasn't gonna just sit around and just do nothing. I would lose my mind. I still lost my mind, don't get me wrong, but I didn't lose it as bad as it could have been. But I stayed busy. I got a couple shows that's at a couple different production companies. I'll find out next week if I get my HGTV show, because the money that I made in stand-up and commercials, I took back home to St. Louis and started buying properties. And HGTV caught wind of it, was like, hey, we ain't got no niggas on this show, on this network. How about you and your brother come on here and do y'all thing? So they had the meeting on the 11th, and they'll let us know yay and nay. So that's kind of what I've been up to.
Hey man, we'll be praying for you that you definitely land those gigs, man. Like I said at the top, man, most people, some people remember you from College Hill. They cause me and you, I jumped on your live. You was very gracious enough to let fans come on your live during the College Hill. They was running a marathon. How long ago was that?
Man, that was definitely in the summer.
That was the summer of this year?
2020. Yeah. I think so. I really don't remember, to tell you the truth.
I don't remember either, but I remember jumping on live with you and chatting and watching the whole marathon go through. But before we get to the College Hill stuff, man, and everything else you got going on with your career, let's take us back to the beginning, man. You mentioned earlier you were from St. Louis. You was born in Arkansas, but you was raised in St. Louis, man. Take us back to the Lou, man. What was life like growing up in the Lou? And also, you were a preacher's kid as well, right?
Yeah. So that's always interesting, being a preacher's kid, because I was really sheltered. Like, part of the reason I left St. Louis was so that I could just venture out and kind of be on my own. And but I came from a dope family. My dad, I was joking with him earlier, maybe a couple days ago because he raised, my dad had money, like we had money, but we didn't know that because we was raised poor. My dad, my dad was a ditch digger in Arkansas. Then he ended up some back in like 81. Someone was like, hey, we want to start teaching people how to program computers. If anybody's interested in learning, this is when computers first came out. And everybody's like, computers ain't gonna be no damn thing or whatever.
Right.
And he's like, anything's better than digging ditches. So my dad became a computer programmer back in the early 80s, and then in like 90s and 2000s, he like made a killing. And so, like, for example, for Christmas, me and my brothers each got $100. It was 5 of us. Like, if we wanted a game system, 4 of us would have to like put our money together. The last one we either get the controller or a game. Then we had to wait to birthdays to get the other stuff. Like, it took us a whole year to play like one game, like of saving and all of that. And one day I think I was maybe like 16, 17. And let me build it up a little bit more. Like, I grew up with powdered milk. Like, I grew up with the government cheese and all this other stuff. Like, I know what that tastes like. I've had it all. And I'm 17 years old. I see a check from my dad. My dad had a file cabinet. I don't know, like, if you're like this, but I know kids like trying to go find treasures in their parents' stuff. They like,
especially when they're gone for like the day, you just get you just get the rambling.
You just went to just looking at everything, yo. So I see these checks for like 20 G's every other week. I'm like, shut up. My dad's bringing in about $30,000 a month as a computer programmer, and we over here sharing controllers. Like, I'm like, Dad. When I got older, because I didn't try to call him out at no 16, 17. That's a quick fist to the face. Right. So I was like I said, a few days, I'm like, why'd you have us living like this? And we could have had more. And he's like, that's my money. Y'all ain't earned that. And I was like, oh, that's a cold nigga right there, yo. So I a lot of my friends, because our church was like in the hood of St. Louis. So a lot of my friends that I was able to hang out with was from the hood of St. Louis. And I met a girl, and because I knocked up a lesbian in high school. First time I had sex. And
your story like mine, man. I didn't knock up.
You did too?
I didn't knock up a lesbian, but when I was in high school, I had sex with a lesbian as well. Lesbian. And another thing, back to what you were just saying, I had the same experience with my parents. I was rambling one day.
Uh-huh.
And and we about the same age. You born 84, I born 85. So the mail, my mama let me go get the mail. I get the mail, and so around this time it's like junior, senior year. So you get the mail because you're about to go to college or whatever. And so I see the mail with my name on it, and it was a check, and I was like, whoa. I opened it up. It was like probably like $180, maybe $200, and I was like, and it was a Social Security check or something. I was like, Mom, I'm thinking like, how long, Mama, you been getting checks from me and not telling me? And so I had that type of same moment. Like, so I started cashing the checks because the checks was made out to me.
Yeah.
I had to start cashing in on them checks. I had to, man. That's funny, man. But you say you knocked up a lesbian in high school.
I did. I knocked up a lesbian in high school, which really blew everybody's mind, because she wasn't like the cheerleader lesbian either. Like, me and my baby mama both looked handsome at prom. Like, that's kind of
wow.
I knocked up a stud, yo.
You did the most scariest shit, man. Like, getting, you already a preacher's kid, and then you bring a baby home. Oh my!
I was running away from home. I wrote a letter. I remember writing a letter to my parents because I'm like, they gonna wild out. I don't really want to deal with this. So I was like 17. I wrote a letter to my mom or whatever. I was like, look, Erica pregnant. I'm be a man. I'm gonna leave. And I was dipping out at like 2, 3 a.m. And my mom don't ever wake up. My mom one of those mamas that sleep. Like she get her 8 hours. My mama ain't ever missed an 8-hour day in her life. No matter what's happening, thunder, lightning, earthquakes, tornadoes, she sleep. And she woke up as I was leaving out the house at 2, 3 a.m. And she was like, God woke me up and told me to go check on Willie. And I was like, God be snitching, man. Boy. And so we talked about it. She's like, nah, stay here. We gonna take care of this kid together. Like they were super cool about it and all the other stuff. But when my dad found out and he was like, who'd you knock up? I was like, Erica. He said, how? I'm like, like nigga, she's still a woman. Like,
oh shit.
He said, how? I'm like, yeah. He's like, man. I was like, this is what happens when you keep your son in the house for so long. Like, here's how butch my baby mama was. Like, people used to call me gay for sleeping with her. Like, nigga, like, no one respected the fact that she was still a chick. That shit was so crazy. But yeah. So.
I was one of the lives you was on when I was running that Coliseum Marathon. You mentioned that your son was like 18, and I was like,
yeah,
you just didn't come off of the type that would have a kid at like such a young age. I was like, yeah. Wow, I would have never caught that vibe from the show. The way you were just living life, just to the fullest that you had a kid. Was you the only cast member that had a kid?
Was I the only cast member? Let's see. No. Yeah, I was the only cast member that had a kid. Everybody else had kids after the show.
Wow.
And like Vanessa got 3 or 4 kids. Adisha got 1 or 2. Crystal just had her first one. Fallon has 1. Yeah. So I got mine out the way, man. I like now me and my son kick it. Like me and the son homies. Like that. He don't my son ain't ever respected me as a father. Like
really?
That's just because I was such a young dad. So when you are such a young, let me close. I'm about to go close my balcony door. So like when you are such a young dad, he just kind of like treats you differently. Like him calling me dad is as if my name was dad. Like I introduced him. Like I introduced myself to him. Like, hey, what's up, youngin? My name Dad. Like that's what he calls me versus the authoritative figure that's like behind father. Like yeah. So it's like for example, he snuck home from school with this girl last year and came to my spot. Mm-hmm. And the girl, once they open up the door, the girl freaks out. She's like, oh my God, your father's here. He's like, who? He's like, no, that's Dad. He cool. Like, that's what my son tells the chick. Like, that's like the level of respect that he like, Dad, cool, man. We just gonna go in the room. I'm like, you ain't supposed to be in school, Malcolm? He's like, yo, you gonna snitch? I was like, nah, I'm just asking, nigga. Dang. So yeah.
So as a young parent, man, you go on to live your life. So how's the relationship with your baby mama as you going off to college and doing all this type of stuff, making moves?
Another up and down thing. So when I was leaving St. Louis, she was like, "You're not leaving me here with the kid." I'm like, "Then you can come to LA too." She's like, "I'm not going to LA." I'm like, "So you want me to stay in St. Louis?" I'm like, my parents gonna help out. I'm gonna come during the summers. He can stay with me during. I'm like, I'm not staying put just because of the kid. I'll always be dad. I'll always be father. Like I ain't never dipped out. Like I don't understand how people can be like a deadbeat father, like and just disappear. Like right. I'm so. My baby mama tried men twice, got knocked up both times. And yeah, I know, worst lesbian in the world. And the little girl, her dad not in her life at all. Like she don't even call him dad or father. She'd be like, oh, the sperm donor left the child support check in the mail. Like she calls him sperm donor. I adopted her. Like that's the level of fatherhood that I just whatever. And so when I finally moved out here, I changed my name to Willie Macc. Everybody, my real name is William McMiller. And I changed my name to Willie Macc. And she hired a hitman to find me. She was trying to get, she put out a life insurance policy on me, and she hired someone to kill me. And the only reason I found this out was because one day we drinking at a bar, because right now me and my baby mama, we cool as fuck. Like that's the homie. Like, that's weird saying, like I knocked the homie up, but that's kind of what I did. So we out drinking, and she's like, "It's such a surprise that you made it this long." I was like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. When you first left, I was really upset with you, and I hired a hitman. I was trying to find you, and like, you know, whatever." I was like, "Shut up! Like, what happened?" Like, apparently the nigga didn't find you. I'm like, "So you mean there's a nigga out there right now looking for Willie McMiller 10 years later? Like, is it still under contract?" The true story. She told me she hired someone, but she was like that. Like, I remember one time she told me to go pick my son up at her brother's house, which I never did. And I was like, and this is during the time I was leaving to LA. When I told her, I'm like, I'm gone. And she like, "Pick Malcolm up from Mark's house." I was like, "Why? Malcolm never is at Mark's house. I just pick him up from the babysitter." She's like, "No, pick him up from there." I'm like, "All right." So I go to Mark's house, and apparently she told Mark that I beat her up.
Oh my God.
And he fresh out the army. He was like, you hit my sister?" I was like, "Do you think I hit your sister?" And he's like, "Nah, she whooped your ass." I was like, "Exactly." She came over there. One of the few times I would ever admit that my baby mama could whoop my ass, but I did because what she did, apparently, she put an orange in a sock and hit herself to make it look like, man, yo, me and my baby mama at the beginning, it was rocky. Then maybe around like, she ends up moving out here. Her and her girlfriend end up moving out here when my son was maybe like 6.
Oh, she a stud for real.
Oh, what? Yes.
How did this happen?
You know, as a comedian, there's my top 3 comedians of all time. Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac's the person that inspired me to change my name to Willie Macc. Because his real name was Bernard McCullen. And he's like, "That don't even sound sexy on stage." I'm like, "Neither does William McMiller." So that's Bernie Mac, Dave Chappelle, GOAT. I'm gonna do my top 5. Richard Pryor. He's who I study Richard. Like, he's on my Pandora playlist, and I just try to figure out his timings and all this other stuff. DL Hughley. I like DL. I like DL. Mm-hmm. My number 1 favorite comedian of all time, though, is God. That dude be doing some stuff where you be like, you can't write this yourself.
You can't write this. Man, it's such great that, you know, I think we take life, you gotta take life somewhat serious, so you won't make it, but you know, that you don't take life as serious as, you know, to go through, you know, we've all gone through a lot, of course, especially in 2020, but to still, you know, you comedians are wired different, man, to still like make jokes and you know, still put a smile on your face, man. It's really dope, man. For me personally, Chris Rock will always be my number 1 comedian. Like, the niggas versus black people joke is just one of the most greatest jokes, or whatever they call it, of all.
Ain't that something?
Mm-hmm.
The way their minds work is ridiculous. Like, I've sit down as just as a comic. Hold on, I have a turtle in here and he's trying to get in. No, I really do. I got a tortoise that be walking around, and he'd be like knocking on doors and stuff. So I just had to let him out. Anyways, so That's the weird thing to say mid podcast. Like, let me let my turtle out real quick.
It sounds good. It's you on brand. You on brand right now. It's all good, man. It's all good, man. So take me to a scare. For most people, a scary place of moving to LA. Like, how scary is that? Trying to get gigs, trying to get commercials, trying to do whatever you can to get in the business, trying to get a little side job to maintain it, living on couches. I've heard the horror stories. Taking me to your moving to LA experience.
Whew, okay. I moved out here initially not to be in the entertainment industry. I came out here chasing a chick.
Okay, you chasing some ass.
I was chasing some ass. That's part of the reason my baby mama was trying to have me murked out. So I come out. This girl, she wanted to be a model, and she was a model in St. Louis. Did everything, runway shows, did everything. She was a whole dime St. Louis. She come out. She's like, "Hey, I'm moving to LA." I'm like, "Nah, stay here in St. Louis because ain't nothing to really do." And like people from like certain cities don't leave those cities, and I was gonna be one of them. And she's like, "I'm gone." And I was like, "Nah, take me with you." So I went to college out here. The only reason I was able to go to college was because I lied to the school and told them that I was a single father, and which technically was true. I was a father.
True.
I was single.
Right.
So they gave me all these grants and stuff, so I was able to live out here. And then she quickly found out that being a model in St. Louis and a model in Los Angeles are two different models. Like she was a dime in St. Louis. She was a strong 5.5 here. She was a strong 5.5, depending on who did her makeup. So like nothing progressed from that. And oh, this is cold. So College Hill comes about. The casting was in 2006, okay. And I did this other show because the way that I was making money was doing background work. Like those that don't know, background work are the niggas that be walking back and forth in the background of shows and no lines, whatever.
What's paid for that? Like
for a non-union person, it was $58 for 8 hours.
What?
If you were in the union, it was like $138 for 8 hours. And they fed you off. You only ate like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches as a non-union extra. And it was the worst work I've ever done. But that's how I met Bernie Macc. I ended up doing a Bernie Macc show. And I was supposed to only work one day on the Bernie Macc show, but Bernie Macc was sick. So that one day ended up turning to like 6 days. Now around day 2, Kalita Smith, who played Bernie Mac's wife, sees me, and I used to have this really big afro back in the day. And she's like, "You look so country. Where are you from?" Because I was one of those dudes wore the baggy jeans with like the fake red gaiters and like the big button-up shirt thing, and I was doing something. And she like, "You look country as hell." I was like, "Oh, I'm from St. Louis." She's like, "What?" She's like, "My assistant's from St. Louis." So her assistant, she's gonna call the assistant over. She like, the first question when you find out you from the same city, what high school you go to? I was like, "Oh, I went to Hazelwood Central." She's like, "Oh, me too, Frank Smith." I was like, "Oh, snap. Yeah, he's still the principal." We chopping it up. Bernie Macc comes out and he's like, "Who's this melted milk dud y'all talking to?" I will never forget that.
Oh, shit.
And that was like I said, that was like day 2 or 3. And then the rest of those days that I saw Bernie Macc, because he just couldn't film. He was like, they're like, "We're waiting on Bernie." And they're like, "Bernie's not going to make it today." Or you saw him in his dressing room. Like I saw him, he was hooked up to an oxygen machine. Like he was just in really bad shape. And, but he was always so cool when he saw me or when we saw each other. And I was like, I want to do whatever, huh?
That's something I didn't see in your bio when I was doing research. I knew you got the name. You switched your name, because of Bernie Macc. I had no clue, man. You worked on the Bernie Macc show, man. What? That's nothing to sneeze at. Like what was you doing? Like the background work for that show as well?
Yeah. Yeah, I was doing background work. It was an episode where the kids was going to camp or something like this, and I played one of the camp kids just in the background. There was no reason Kalita Smith should have talked to me or Bernie Mac should have said it. I'm just another extra, but they found it, and that's what inspired this entire journey. And I was like, whatever it is this dude does, I want to do that. And that's when I started watching, really getting big into stand-up and understanding comedy and all this other stuff. And then I didn't start stand-up until after College Hill, because on College Hill, I was just goofy. All I knew my whole life was just being a goofy dude. I didn't know there was like a whole avenue for this. And so being that person, but I guess because I was the least drama-filled person on the show, they had me doing all the radio interviews. Mm-hmm. So what's up, y'all? I'm Willie Macc. This is WLZ Chicago, and I did it everywhere. And so while I was doing the interviews, people used to be like, man, you super funny. Tell us a joke. And I was like, what? They're like, you know, aren't you a comedian? I was like, yeah, I'm a comedian. They like, tell us a joke. I was like, I've never told a joke a day in my life. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote my very first joke. And my very first joke that I've ever written is, so I'm new to LA. And since I've been out here, I was shot at 3 times. My place was broken into and my car got vandalized, but I got that taken care of, and I broke up with that girl. And like that's the first joke I've ever written. And then that turned into people like, oh, that's funny, tell us another one. I was like, I got one. That was it. So I started getting into stand-up that way. And then people were like, what do you want us to call you? I was like, Willie Macc. Willie Macc. Yeah, Willie Macc. That's my name. I'm like 2 C's. That's
2 C's. So take us back, man. As a young kid, I remember the very first season at College Hill was like Virginia or something like that. Mm-hmm. I always was like, man, be so dope if they came to A&T or went to Salem State, you know what I mean? I wish I could be one of them kids, man, in that thing, man. Take us to behind the scenes of how the audition and how all that works to be on this show.
So, for one, they're bringing back College Hill.
I seen Deion Sanders and his his wife talking about
Edmonds. Yeah, because it's really Tracy Edmonds' show.
Right. And, Babyface ex-wife.
Babyface ex-wife. At this time, so I was doing background work, and I saw an ad on Craigslist for this dating show called So You Want to Date My Sister. It was a show, it never aired.
Craigslist back then. I didn't even know about Craigslist back then.
Yeah, no, Craigslist was how I found a lot of my little gigs, and it was like $500 cash, be on this dating competition show. And I was on it, and I was same goofy dude I always am. And this guy named Michael McQuan, who was Tracy Edmonds' little brother, he was like, you're a funny dude. Me and my sister produced this show called College Hill. Would you be interested? I'm like, man, yeah, definitely. He was like, if you can go make my sister laugh, I'm sure I can get you in on the show. I was like, all right. At this time, Tracy Edmonds was dating Eddie Murphy. They was supposed to be, they was getting married, but Eddie a cold dude. Eddie stood her up, like he left her at the altar, some shit like that. And I reminded her of Eddie Murphy. And so I forget the joke that I told her. And there's actually on the DVD, there's the auditions of there's an audition. My bad. He just kind of walked by. The turtle, most random nigga out here. So I said some joke, she laughs, and I almost wasn't on College Hill because there was the season before us. It was Virginia, maybe? Was it Virginia? Because it was Southern. Then it was Oklahoma or something. I forget. Then it went Virginia. So they had success with this gay dude, Ray Cunningham.
Which now he's like kind of popping. Like, because of the
Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah, Love and Hip Hop. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's the same guy. Yeah.
So they wanted to put another gay person in on the season. They had everybody, and it was down to me and this gay person. And then they did some research. Apparently, they was like, look, being openly gay in like the Caribbean was kind of frowned upon a little bit. So they was like, let's just play it safe just so it's not no no security and all this other stuff. They like, let's go with Willie Macc. So that's how it was decided. They really wanted the gay guy, but they settled for me. And it was so interesting because I remember once we got done with the show, before the show started, we was doing promos and we was on 106 in Park. This was when it was Terrence, Jay, and Roxy.
Roxy. Mm-hmm.
So they're like, let's introduce the cast of College Chill. And they was like, they're like, we got Cheeky. Cheeky was the tall Caribbean dude.
Right.
And they like, what's up, Cheeky? They were like, oh, look at Cheeky. Then they said, then the next one, Andres. The girls went crazy for Andres. Light skin.
Andre light skin guy.
Yeah, light skin guy. He kind of looked like Sean Paul. And Sean Paul was hot right around that time. So they went crazy for him. Then it's like JT.
And JT supposed to be the playboy for this shit. That was probably his role.
JT out there doing all the little this, and they went crazy. Then they said, and Willie Macc, I got booed. I got booed on 106 in fucking Park. They said, boo, look at his fro. Look like a bird nest on his head. They clowned me so hard on 106. So then we go through the whole season or whatever, and I end up becoming one of the fan favorites. So we all go do 106 in Park again. And they was like, same thing, and they kind of booed Andres because they felt like he was a little bit of an antagonist. And then they was like, and Willie Macc, everybody just, Willie, we love you, Willie. It was such a crazy experience though. So that's kind of how I end up on the show, and I know that conversation ventured off to some other shit, but yeah, that's
it's all good, man. So was you actually in college at this time?
I was actually in college, yes. Was I in college at the Virgin Islands? No. So what they made me do, because I went to college, because that's the only way I was able to live in California, in Los Angeles. So they was like, if you want to be on this show, you're going to have to transfer to the University of the Virgin Islands. So they made me I was like, all right, cool. I ain't got nothing else here in LA beside this nickel sitting next to me. And it was crazy because she almost ruined College Hill for me. So I get a call from the executive producer maybe like a week before I'm flying out to the Virgin Islands. He was like, Willie, why don't you want to be on College Hill anymore? I said, what? He's like, yeah, I got your email, this and that. And I'm like, Sean, I don't know what you're talking about, yo. I want to be on College Hill. No, I read your email. You said, don't contact me anymore. You have bigger priorities. And I'm like, send me the email. He sends me the email, and just the verbiage was all my girlfriend at the time. And I brought it up. I'm like, Keita, what the fuck is this? Me and her going back and forth. She's like, I don't know nothing about it. I'm like, nobody else says XYZ, XYZ. You're the only person I know that says that. They don't even sound like me. And everything's like perfectly punctuated and just like, that's not even how I talk. And so she eventually kind of came out. She was like, look, you're going to have to choose between me and College Hill. That's what she told me. She's like, choose between me and College. You see where I'm at. I was like, all right. Now that, especially after I seen what bad chicks really look like, man, I'm gone. So, no, she's cool. She is whatever. But, yeah, so I ended up kind of, man, that would have been so crazy if he never contacted me and I would just sitting around at the airport waiting on my ticket and stuff.
Wow, that'd have been, yeah, man, yeah, you're right, man. God definitely works in mysterious ways. So when you, now, I'm a nerd for all the behind the scenes detail type little shit because I just seen him. So when y'all first get there, I'm guessing that's not when y'all really first got there. Like when the camera's catching it, y'all first walking, I'm pretty sure there's some shit that's happening before that, before like the camera's rolling. Like you already got your room picked out.
So no, actually, reality TV's changed a lot over the years. Obviously, we were the first.
That's when you thought reality TV was real back. That's when I thought reality TV was real back then. Not this shit.
Nah. Oh, today it's the most. It's definitely sketched on. So, but there was we was there maybe a week before we actually started filming. We was in hotel rooms. I didn't know who the castmates were. They didn't let us see each other, any of that. And I remember the executive producer, Sean, comes up to me. He was like, look, Willie, this is probably going to be one of the most electrifying seasons of College Hill because of the personalities that we casted. We're going to need you to be the comic relief. We're going to need you once tensions get really high. We want to be able to cut to you and you be like the level-headed person of the group. And I was like, all right. And so that day when you see us all seeing each other for the first time, that was our first time seeing each other for the first time and going to get the room, whoever got a room first and all this other stuff. So that's really how all of that worked out.
Wow, that's crazy. That's your first time actually meeting. So what was the vibe like what was the vibe like when you met your cast members and your roommates and all that?
Everybody was kind of I don't want to say skittish. I think that's the right word I'm looking for. Skittish because everybody just kind of filling each other out. Everybody's kind of looking at each other like, which one's the antagonist? Which one? Because we know why they casted us. We know what we've seen the seasons of College Hill before. We knew what this was about, but I didn't care. I was like, man, I'm about to have a time of my life. Like this is we chilling in the Virgin Islands, all expense paid for. I'm like, this is it. And I had a thing for Vanessa. Like I was like, hey, I'm gonna try to figure out how to pull this Caribbean chick that I can't understand at all. Like I want her. So I have my eyes on her. I'm a flirt. I'm a big flirt. And but I'm goofier. I'm more goofy of a person than I am a flirt. Like I posted a couple of days ago about watching this sex scene on this show. And I'm like, I don't know how people do sex scenes in movies. Like y'all sitting here straight naked. And I'm like, no one's getting hard. Like I would have cracked the joke.
So,
like,
you obviously your time in Hollywood, you haven't yet done a sex scene.
I haven't done a sex scene. I haven't done a kissing scene. I'm always like the friend or the goofy this and that. I never was taken as that leading man is out there doing. Like I'm Ghost from Power. Like I ain't never had that. No one.
The best job in the world.
So, and it's funny because they asked the girls, it's like, why did none of you all give Willie a chance? And they were like, Willie's too goofy. I don't think we could get serious enough to be intimate with Willie. So he's like a little brother to us, is what they said.
Right, and I felt that I felt that just as a fan, just watching. I was like, man, they just ain't fucking with Willie at all. You did, I think you did. I remember you, if memory served me right. Did you bring it was a girl that came from the girl came from like the outside or something, and y'all was kind of snuggled up or something. Yeah, she was like a big girl or something.
She was thick, but people used to call her fat. And it was weird because she was thick, yeah, but she wasn't fat. And then after the show, big girls loved me.
They love skinny niggas.
They love skinny niggas, and big girls be like, we saw you messing with big girl on TV. Here we are. Like I had all the big girls in the world, yo. And it's funny because off camera. After we stopped filming, they made us finish out going to school there. And so they put us up in hotels and we was finishing out the school year. And me and JT went on like a competition of like, who can get the most females? Because females love JT.
Sniping.
Huh?
I was out there sniping? You had a sniping competition?
I don't know if it was a sniping competition, but it was like we was what was hot on campus and we weren't saying no. It was like, and so Females loved JT because he was JT. He was the playboy. But females loved me because they like, you're fun as fuck, Willie. You keep us laughing, and then in a sense,
you had the free hotel,
huh?
And you had the free hotel.
I had the free hotel. They had us up in the Marriott. The stuff that went on when they weren't filming was all the stuff that I bet they wish they would have filmed.
You know who I had a crush on though, just as a fan watching, was the sister from LA. Not the real skinny one.
Alan?
Not the skinny one, not the light-skinned skinny one. The
light-skinned skinny one was Crystal. You Fallon. That's
Fallon.
The one.
Yeah. I follow her on Instagram to this day. Yeah. Yeah. She sings and stuff now, right?
Yeah, she's an artist. I was like, man, we had no idea that she was.
She was kind of like you. She was just kind of quiet, kind of ducked off. I was kind of wonder why they cast her. It must have been something because she seemed really reserved. That's what I caught from off the TV screen. Like she was pretty reserved. She wasn't with the bullshit at all.
Yeah, well, Fallon, after a while, a lot of the cast members got over being filmed all the time. We had cameras in our rooms. We had cameras while we was in class. We had cameras following us, and so they had no privacy. It got to a point where we figured out how to ditch the camera. Like we would say we was going to class, but we would dip out, but they would always find us, and we didn't know until like after the show that they had GPS trackers in our microphones.
Oh wow! Oh,
that's how they. We would be somewhere random, and then all of a sudden you just hear like in the bushes, and it'd be like, "Is that Ninja?" One of our cameraman's name was Ninja. Like, "Is that Ninja?" Ninja be right there, just like. There they are. We'd be like, how did he find us, and how did he even get in here? Like it was a trip. But I always enjoyed the camera. That I love the limelight. Maybe it's because I'm a Leo, as some people would say. Like Leo is like being the center of attention. But so Fallon and some of the other ones started to close off because they was like, man, I ain't doing nothing. But then. The producers were so good at what they were doing. There's a reason why we were such a hit. Like they got a lot of scripted stuff now, but they had producer pushed games that they would make us do on College Hill. Like they would be like, "Hey, we'll be at a dinner table. We'll be at a dinner, and we all cool. We chilling. We having a good time. I remember it was a date night dinner where we all brought a date over. Blah blah blah, and the producer comes by and says, "Hey, why don't y'all play a game of who would you fuck, who would you marry, who would you kill?"
Oh wow!
We were like, "All right." So and at this time, Crystal was kind of unlikable. Crystal was
very unlikable, even off the screen, very unlikable. Like skinny, everything. I like she rich, like nothing I would talk to.
So everybody would be like, "Oh, I would have sex with JT, Willie, or whatever, blah blah blah, cheeky." But everybody said we would kill Crystal, which got her riled up. You know what? Fuck y'all. I'm getting out this dinner. I kill all y'all bitches too. And they knew that would irk. Now they like roll the cameras. And then it turned. Then what y'all see is like all the fighting that happened from. Well, Chris, you know we got a problem because all you do is this, and that. I do this because, and it just became a whole thing. So they did things like that. Like they'll team us up. Like, hey, we're gonna go do a scavenger hunt. You all work together, and you all work together. And in this group, they knew that, like, they would put Crystal and Vanessa on the same team, and we're like, they gotta work together. All right, and then like maybe it would bump heads, or like so there was a lot of that, or they'll have like they would I'm trying to think of something else. I can't really think of anything else that they did, but there was the fight real? That's what the fans want to know. Was that fight real? Man, that fight was 100% real. We was not no one was expecting that. Like we we thought that they were just gonna, because we always argued. It was always an argument. It was always some finger pointing. But if you ask Vanessa, like she said, she was faded. It was late. She was drunk. We all came in from like some event. I think it was like a carnival. I think it was that same night. Might not have been. And Crystal just ran her lips a couple too many times for Vanessa. Boom, boom, boom.
Kicked off the show.
Yeah, they kicked off our boo, and that just made things even worse, man. Because everybody liked Vanessa, so it's like they kicked off the favorite.
Yeah,
and so that divided us even more. The LA kids versus the VI kids, and but obviously Vanessa was still on the show, but just different. Like they would just do like her own little solo thing, or they would bring the VI kids to go hang with her and they go kick it. And like I still saw Vanessa after, like, even when she got kicked off, like she was living in the dorms. I'll go visit, and then that would piss Crystal off because she'd be like, it's supposed to be LA versus VI. I'm like, why? Why we gotta? First of all, I ain't even from LA. So I'm like, whatever. So it divided us more, but eventually, like, now we're all in like a group chat.
Oh, cool.
And, yeah, all of us from not
all
just
members in a group chat.
Yeah, all the members from all the different seasons are all in the
different seasons.
Yeah, so it's like 1 through 6. And we're all in a group chat, and we'll all talk like, hey, you know, they about to do reruns. So Crystal, Vanessa, get ready for the comments. Or the
now, you know the people want to know, do y'all get any income from those reruns?
We didn't get paid to do the show,
right?
So we didn't get paid for no reruns. They made millions of dollars, and I think we all got $900, and that was just our weekly allowance so we could go buy food and groceries.
Not $900 for the whole cast, or per person?
Hold on real quick. I think I got a package that's coming in, so y'all about to, it's either that or something. Hey, what's up, boss? Thank you. Have a good one. Wouldn't it be crazy if this was the sniper or the hitman? Like I'm on this damn podcast. It took me 16 years, but I
finally got him.
I finally got you. Hold on real quick. I want to see what it is. I'm a sneakerhead.
Okay.
I'm a big sneakerhead. I got about 100-some pair of shoes. So
J's?
Huh?
J's, like Jordans, Nikes?
Jordans, Nikes. I got off-whites. Yeah, these my Jordans I bought. I'm gonna have to show you. Like, yeah. I got so many shoes. I got a storage unit. Like, I'm at public storage as well, so I could store some of my shoes there as well. Exclusive. Oh.
Hey. Dope. Those are the 13s, right?
Yeah, the third. No, those are the 12s.
12. Sorry, sneakerheads. Don't kill me.
Yeah, man. You. So this is my Jordan collection on my wall. I got the off-white ones on there. I got the 3s, the 1s and the 2s. Yeah, I'm a full-on sneakerhead.
I see sneakers everywhere.
Oh man, my place is full of just sneakers.
Wow. Do you ever get tired of the hustle and bustle of the LA life?
All the time.
Just gig to gig, getting commercials, auditions. Do you ever get tired of that whole hustle and bustle?
I think about quitting at least 5 times a month. I hate it. I hate it, but I love it at the same time, because I hate it because it is that hustle and bustle, and it's so many rejections before you get those yeses. You think you're close. No, it's like, oh my God, I can't just keep getting rejected, and it tears down, it tears you down mentally. Mm-hmm. And but it's also, I was saying to someone before, I was like, if I was living in St. Louis, I have no idea what I'd be doing with my life. All I know is how to be a comedian, tell jokes, and be goofy. Like, I can't picture myself working a 9 to 5. I can't picture myself having to be told by a boss, like, hey, you're gonna have to stay later, or you were late, you got lunch, hey, take your lunch. Oh, you gotta do it out. Like, I can never fathom that type of life. I'm not knocking it, but it's like that's never been for me. I'm
the opposite. You know, I have a nice 9 to 5 job. I could never, like, even like people that sell cars, like I could never like it's like the wilderness. You only eat what you kill. You know what I mean? And that's scary as fuck to me. You know,
because I was a couch surfer. There was a time in my 30s where I had not a penny to my name. I had a tin can where all my money was set up, and I was calling folks, is it cool if I sleep on your couch for a month? Is it cool if I sleep on your, like, I was sleeping on people's floors. It was rough for a while. I mean, I'm doing cool now. Like, I'm sitting here buying shoes randomly, but it wasn't always like that. And it's painful.
Mm.
And I see people that make decent, obviously lots of people make decent money with 9 to 5, and I'd be like, why are you doing this to yourself, Willie? Why don't you work a fucking job? You have a degree, and
you never put that degree to use.
Never put that degree to use, and I'm paying for this, man. Yep.
You got student loans? You paid off all your student loans yet?
No, I refuse to. I'm one of those people.
One of those.
I do owe. I owe about $80,000. No, about $85,000 in student loans.
Wow.
But
so
yeah, man.
Did you go to another question? Did you go to an HBCU?
Only went on for the Virgin Islands.
Okay.
When we had the transfer, I started off not at a HBCU. I went to some whack school called American College. They ended up losing their credit. They ended up losing their license to be a school because they was scamming people out of money. And then I went to. It was a mess, but nah. So yeah, I end up then, like I said, College Hill. They made us go to an HBCU, and yeah.
Okay. I got a few more questions before I let you go. One of my first questions before I let you go is being like about 17, 18 years old, being in St. Louis, and Nelly comes out, the first big star from St. Louis. How does that make you feel? You know, I'm from North Carolina. We had Petey Pablo was our first star. Petey Pablo was our first star, and he had the breakout record, Rise Up, whatever it was called. And Nelly kind of had the same thing with y'all with, whatever his breakout song was. Being from St. Louis, how did that make you feel?
It's so interesting. I just actually had a conversation with someone. I'm trying to find something as I'm telling you this story. It was exciting because we had a few people from St. Louis that St. Louis was hot for a little bit because it was like Chingy. Chingy came after Nelly, and then it was Jaquan, and Murphy Lee. I was actually
the chain hang low dude too, right?
Oh yeah. What was I forgot his name though.
Baby Huey or something?
It was Baby Huey.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go on Instagram and look them up. What them niggas up to these days?
Right.
So I'm trying to find. I'm gonna keep looking for a while. I'm telling you the story. So it was really inspiring because who else was from St. Louis at the time, especially when I started looking into comedy and all that other stuff? Cedric the Entertainer.
Right. That was all Nelly album as well.
Yeah, he did the little skits on there. And so my mom always wanted me to meet Cedric the Entertainer because Cedric's mom is a teacher. My mom's a teacher as well. And Cedric's mom gave my mom her first job. And my mom used to be like, Willie, why don't you try to hook up with Cedric? Because if his mom gave me a job, maybe he'll give you a job. I'm like, that's not how it works, mama.
Right.
So I'm at the BET Awards 2007. And it's funny being a celebrity and broke at the same time. I was working a 9 to 5. I was working at a call center, and it was a call center selling vitamins and health supplements and all of that. And so I had the day. I called the day off so I could go to the BET Awards, which was at USC, and I had to catch a bus there.
Wow.
I had to catch a bus to go to the red carpet. Everybody else is in limos and all this other stuff. And so I'm there kicking it, doing the photos, everybody screaming red, wah! Do the whole BT stuff, sitting next to some folks. Beyonce saw me. She knew who I was, which blew my mind. Because she was like, hey, that's how much BT College Hill was that show, especially for Black celebrities. People forget sometimes that they people too, and they watching the same stuff that you all are watching.
Absolutely.
Like I was
before social media, so you thought like they didn't watch it or they wasn't involved. Now with social media, we all so close and we see that we all the same. We all do the same shit. Yes. So yeah, but go on with your story.
So I'm at the mall prior to this, shopping for the BET Awards, and this big dude, maybe like 6'7", maybe like 350, comes up to me. He's like, "Hey," I'm like, "Yo." He's like, "Willie Macc?" I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "I'm Lil Jon's bodyguard. That nigga loves you." I'm like, "Lil Jon?" Like, okay, like. He's like, "Yeah, he watches you on the tour bus all the time talking about how funny you are. He makes us watch College Hill with him." So I'm at the BET Awards. I run into Beyonce, and backstage, she didn't know my name or nothing, but she was like, "You the guy from the show?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's me." And so after BET Awards, I run into Nelly. And Nelly's like, "Hey, what you doing?" I was like, what you got planned?" He's like, "Hey, we all gonna go up to I forget whose house it was. We're going up to this address. Here's the address. Meet us up there in the Hollywood Hills." He jumps in this Rolls Royce. Was it a Rolls? Yeah, it was a Rolls Royce with Ashanti, because at this time he was dating Ashanti. And they dip out. I had to walk to the train station. I took the train to the bus station, walked up this damn hill. This ain't no little hill. Like, walked up this entire hill, finally get to the address, sweating. I was one of those things where I had to take my shirt off while I was walking up this hill, because I can't be at the party sweat. Right. So I took the clothes, I took what I needed to take off, get to the party. We get there, and Nelly's like, "Yeah, hey, we all about to go to the Marina Del Rey and get on this boat. You want to roll?" And I'm like,
"Nigga, can I ride with you?"
And exactly. "Can I ride with
you?" Something, bro. You don't even know.
He didn't let me ride with him, and I end up like, "Nah, I got somewhere else to go." And that somewhere else to go was work. I worked at a 24-hour call center, and I switched shifts with somebody, so I had to work overnight on somebody else's shift. And Nelly told me, he was like, "Look, I'm gonna keep an eye out for you, because we got to make St. Louis. We got to do this for St. Louis." I was like, "All right, yeah." Mm-hmm. So that's my Nelly story. I have a photo that I was gonna show you with me and him and explain this whole thing out, but I can't find it. But yeah.
Were you familiar with the block that they shot that first video at? Do you know?
Natural Bridge and Kings Highway? Yeah, that's right where my dad's church was. Right there. My dad's church was maybe a few blocks away from that. Like, yeah, that same hood is where my dad was a pastor at.
Okay. Wow. All right, so you catch a big break, your first movie role, Meet the Spartans, has some heavy hitters in that thing. Carmen Electra, Method Man.
Yeah,
Before
Kevin
people even knew who the hell Tiffany Haddish was. Tell the people how'd you land that role?
Same way, acting gig, but it was more. But this one was interesting. Movie roles are the most interesting things to book because I auditioned for that movie in, let's say, April of whatever year that was, and I get a call in August. It was just audition. It's out of my mind. I get a call in August. Hey, you booked Meet the Spartans. It shoots in. We shot that in New Orleans. And so we go down New Orleans. This is where I met Tiffany Haddish. She's the one that gave me my first stand-up gig. She taught me how to do the Superman because I can't dance. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can keep a beat. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
But I'm not like I'm not because I guess being a preacher's kid, I never knew how to dance. I mean, niggas was out here praise dancing, but that's a different type of dance. So that's
you ever caught the Holy Ghost?
No, man. I tried.
I've never caught the Holy Ghost neither, man. I was wondering maybe you caught it before I have.
I never caught it. I tried catching it, but I got slippery fingers, man. I guess I got butterfingers.
God forgive us. God forgive us. It's only jokes, and we being real. We never caught the Holy Ghost.
We ain't caught. We just being honest, God.
Being honest, God. We never caught the Holy Ghost. Yeah, man. All right, so I in New Orleans, Meet the Spartans. Tiffany has booked you for some stand-up.
Yeah, and so from there, we shot it. We shot most of that stuff on green screen, and Tiffany Haddish is one of the coolest people I think I've ever met. Because after that, we started hanging out a little bit. And not like dating or anything, but we would just be at the same red carpets and events and all this other stuff. And we went our separate ways because she started getting into stand-up heavy. I quit stand-up because I sucked at it at first. Just being honest, like the first 3 years of stand-up was so rough for me. And I quit and I became a TV editor. And I was making decent money as a TV editor, but I hated it. Staring at a computer screen for 12 to 14 hours a day. I didn't start wearing glasses until I became a TV editor.
Wow.
But even as I was doing this, I was losing my mind, just sitting at a desk. My boss is saying, Willie, what time did you get back from lunch? I'm like, man, every day I want to quit that. Right. And so I had this yearning to be back on stage. Like I missed it. And so that's when I started studying stand-up. I started hiring private tutors to like teach me the details and writing of a joke and just the structure and all this other stuff. And then I learned how to put my own voice. Because the thing about stand-up that makes stand-up when you become successful is your voice. Richard Pryor's voice was he would give an object a character. He'll say, I saw Mike Tyson's fist coming at me, and my face says, what the hell did we do to get to this point? Like he makes characters out of these objects, and that was how Richard Pryor did most of his stuff. My voice is, and it's interesting because I tell stories. My conversation, my stand-up is very conversational, where people want to talk while I'm doing my stand-up. And in the way that I interact with people about, I'm like, I knocked up a lesbian, usually gets a reaction. I'm like, please don't, and I'll talk to someone in the audience, be like, don't make that face. Don't judge me on how I lost my, how'd you lose your?
How much weight did your name hold at the time of being a stand-up comedian? Because you did gain, immense, a ton of fame from being on College Hill. How much did your name hold when you going into these rooms? Did it help or hurt?
Not a lot. Not a lot, because one, I used my College Hill name wrong, because BET, then told us, because BET promised us the world. They were like, y'all's season of College Hill is probably everybody's favorite. And they were going to bring the VI kids to LA. They're like, we're redoing you all season. We're going to, instead of y'all going there, we're going to bring them to LA and show how LA gets down. We was like, what? Oh, hell yeah. That was going to be legit. So that never happens. And it got to a point where I remember BET Awards, I was going to them. Then in 2009, I asked the same person, I'm like, hey, can I get some tickets to the BET Awards? It's like, nah. I was like, what? Why not? I'm alum. I'm fam. They're like, Willie Macc, you're not relevant anymore, so we're not giving you any more tickets. Shit, that's dumb. That was my reality check of what this industry really could do to you. So I said, I'm not going to associate myself with BET or College Hill anymore. So when I was doing my grind on stand-up, I could have used my name to get to places, but I said, and this was me being stubborn and my ego, and I was hurt because I was like, what you mean I'm not relevant anymore? Like, I'm the one that everybody's been. So I was like, I'm not using my BET name when I'm doing stand-up. So I made myself start from the bottom without using my name at all. And so, and then a lot of time, two other things to kind of think about. One, all the people that own these comedy clubs are white. A lot of them were white. And they weren't watching BET. So they're like, hey, this Willie Macc from BET College Hill. They're like, what's that?
Right, what was that? Yeah.
One of my opening jokes that I do to this day, when it depends on if I do a mainly white audience, when they bring you up, like, we Willie Macc, you seen him on this, and you seen him on BET College Hill, blah, blah, blah. And one of my jokes is like, looking at the audience, this is not an audience to be telling BET credits to. And like, and I'll have a whole, like, I got, like I'll point out a white person, be like, the Bet Channel, is that a gambling show? Like, what is the Bet? Like, whatever. So that's one. That's reason one, because most people did not care about BET College Hill, because that's not a real thing. And two, people never took reality stars seriously.
Right.
People look at reality stars as reality stars. That holds no weight.
But that was different though. It ain't like a rapper falling off, getting on Love and Hip Hop. Y'all was these, cool, young kids that's on this fly ass show. You know what I mean? That's the way I always looked at it.
To other Black people, yes.
Right.
But when you're trying to build you could go that route. You could go the Black route. Mike Epps built a huge name going the Black route, and he's who he is. But then you got the Kevin Hart. So it's like, who are you trying to be? What's your angle and all of this other stuff? And also, it was just what's the point that I'm trying to make right now? Yeah, I want to see if I could do it without the College Hill name, and also
just being funny, just being strictly funny.
By being strictly funny, and then also around this time, all we had was MySpace. So people wasn't like social media now. Like if I was on College Hill now, I could sell out a whole show just based off of.
So stupid, because even back then when I was watching y'all, I couldn't find you. I couldn't just. Like, even when I watch a movie on anything, on any of this stuff, I might look at I'm like, oh, this movie funny. It's been times where I done watched like a low budget movie on like Tubi, like that little app that they got the movies or whatever. I'd be like, I hit the director, I'm like, yo, this shit is super dope. Like, more people should have seen this, and you can like find the people and all this other stuff. Back then, I couldn't find you. I couldn't hit you up or anything like that. So, yeah, if College Hill comes back today, that shit gonna be crazy.
Yeah, so they want to do like a little reunion thing, where are they now type thing, because they want to reboot it with I forget the schools that they was talking about. I think one in Texas or I forget what it's all just rumors at this point. But yeah, so if my numbers was if I was on College Hill now then, or however that wording is, then it would have been a completely different thing.
Yeah, Yeah, that's crazy how crazy it would definitely be now. I'm not gonna hold you much longer, man. I totally thank you so much for being definitely gracious with your time. Anything else that the people should know? Anything coming up that the people should know about?
Everybody keep praying that I get this HGTV show, because if I can go to HGTV, we'll talk about God on some levels of jokes to bring me from BET, the blackest thing on TV, to the whitest thing on TV, to the whitest channel. I'm telling you, God writes stuff that we can't even fathom how this happens. And then when things open back up, I'm back on tour. I started touring, like I said, I started touring last year, and my stuff has been getting like really good reviews. And like I said, this was gonna be my breakout year stand-up wise, but it got pushed back, and I'm not complaining, because it's been a great year financially and all this other creatively for me. So I'm hoping that just pushes through this year. Follow me on Instagram, you'll see all of it. Willie Macc, and also follow the one, because we shot the pilot for HGTV, and you can look at like all the stuff that we're doing with the home flipping stuff at Mac Boys Properties on Instagram. That's MACCBOYZ Properties, and you'll see all that stuff I post about it. So yeah, that's just building numbers.
Have you ever been to the Carolinas?
Not yet.
Man, we got some dope little comedy spots down here and stuff like that. I would love to treat you out to dinner and a beer one day. Come
Hey, let's do that.
Carolinas, man. Thank you, man. Back then you was a superhero, like watching you on TV, like, oh shit. And now to actually be having a conversation with you is really dope. And I really thank you for your time. Please go follow. I definitely will be praying for you that you definitely land this show. Man, Willie Macc, Best Conversations Podcast. Thank you again. This is episode 62, I think. I don't know, 62, 63, whatever. But thank you, big bro, for taking your time, time out today to be on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Really much appreciated, man. Well, all right, man. This is another episode of Best Conversations Podcast. Happy 2021. Happy New Year. We end this thing the same way every time, man. Keep God first, and I promise everything will work itself out, man. Have a great day, y'all. We'll talk to y'all soon. All right, man. That's a wrap, my G. Thank you again, man, for being on the pod. This will come out probably tomorrow or something like that, man.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, boss. Well, you have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Stay safe out there in these crazy streets, and we'll link up again.
All right, man. Appreciate it, bro.
All right, boss. Peace.
Mm-hmm.